You may have been very bright because of those challenges I've mentioned. You got a D, you got an E, but you have an opportunity to go up and still do what makes you happy, do what is important to this country and the world, and also earn yourself um, a living through either employment or self-employment. So that is our starting point. So when we speak of courses that run across from the degree all the way to artisan. We talk about grades from A all the way to E. And when we now talk about the available programs that we have, then there is something for everyone. And our director, Professor John Oluoch, will be able to talk about the different opportunities that we have in every stage, the different levels. What I want to focus on more is to assure you as Kenyans that the placement service, or KUCCPS, is an institution that strives to be very fair. We really uphold our values of high integrity and transparency. You do not need to know anyone to get a place within our system. All applications are online. No one should tell you that they can help you by paying 100 shillings to talk to somebody, to talk to the CEO. You do not need to talk to anyone to be able to access our system. That said and done, we have seen a lot of social media platforms, and I know some of the ones who run those platforms are here with us today. Please let us pass the information that is right. Let us make it very clear that we are not charging students to get help. What we do is charge a fee to make an application, and that fee is only paid through 222, which is the eCitizen platform. So we would like to also talk about the mistakes that students make. The first one is just, with all due respect to the parents, is, being pushed by the parents to do a course that probably you have not even thought of, but the parent may be feeling it is a good one because they would have loved to do that program when they were young, or to pursue that career. For the parents in the house, kindly have the discussion with your children, but allow them to decide for themselves the kind of careers they would like to go in based on their abilities, based on their talent, and based on the interest, but also based on where the world is going today. I say that because we have a lot of upcoming careers around performing arts. So unlike in the past where we were looking at just health-related courses, being a teacher, we now have a lot of other courses that can help the student have a mix between their abilities and their talents. We have the sports areas, we have art and design, we have performing art, those who are actors. So let us, as parents, have a very open mind when having these discussions with our children, so that they are able to explore the many courses that are available. Another mistake that we are doing is, working as a mob as young people, because my friend wants to do this, I want to do the same. My friend wants to go to this college, I would also want to go to that college. You came to this world alone, you will live alone. I know how tight those, relationships were at high school, in secondary school, but it's time for each one of you to now take their path Still keep the relationships as friends, but in terms of determining who you are and where you go from here, let it be a personal decision. We are also faced with challenges of students making a choice on the institution. Choose a program based on your interest, not a university, for prestige. We have a lot of students who say, I want to do this course, but it has to be in this university. Don't choose the university. Don't choose the National Polytechnic. Don't choose that TVET before you are clear on the program. Once you know the program, and the program is based on, what you would like to be. So if I would like to be a teacher, the first thing is, do I love teaching? Do I love interacting with people? Am I patient enough to be able to listen to somebody who is much younger than me? Am I able to express myself in the most simple way? Then I can be a teacher. Then, what are the requirements for being a teacher? 2 teaching subjects. So what are my 2 best subjects that I feel confident I can go out and teach? You pick your 2 subjects. What did I perform? How did I perform in those 2 subjects? The minimum is a C+ in the 2 teaching subjects. Then I move further and ask myself, which are the universities or colleges that are having these 2 teaching subjects? So if I had a C plus as my mean, then I have an option of being a teacher both at a degree level or a diploma level. We have diploma teacher education courses. So do I want to go to the university, or do I want to go to Kibabii, Kagumo, or Lugari Teachers Training College? Then you make a decision in terms of you look at all the degree, the universities that have the degree. Then now you start making other choices. What was the person, when we talk of cutoff, and I would like we spend a little more time on the cutoff, what a cutoff is. Then you can check what was the cutoff for 2024 candidates in each of these universities. Then what are the chances that when I look at my cluster weight, I meet that, I may be around that cutoff? Then you make your choice. Up to there, I think we have talked about the small mistakes that we make. Let me take time to say that when you log into the system, you will find so many programs running from degree and TVET, that is diploma, which is level 6, and then we have level 5 and level 4 courses. That is diploma, certificate, and artisan. Now, when you look at degree programs, when you go to the dashboard in your own, when you log in into our system using your index number and your password, which is either your birth certificate or your index number and the year of your exam. When you log into the system and you see the degree, now I'm talking to those who had C+ and above, you will see that all the programs, not just the C+ and above, you'll see all programs from, if you had an A to E, all programs fall within what we call clusters. We have programs batched together, all related programs. So cluster 1, cluster 2, all the way to cluster 18. Now, if you think your area is education, you want to be a teacher, there is a cluster. You go down, it will be education and related. If it is health, you click on the health and related courses. Those are the ones we call clusters. Courses that are lumped together because they have some form of relationship, either because of the subject requirements or the fact that they have a similar name. So we have started with the definition of a cluster. Now, when we go to the next step, we have cluster subjects. Cluster subjects are those subjects that are a requirement for you to do that course or to go into that cluster. So if it is a cluster of health-related courses, what are the cluster subjects? The cluster subjects are biology, maths, chemistry, and a language, either English, Kiswahili, or sign language. So that now moves us from cluster to cluster subjects. Now, your performance in those subjects gives you your cluster weight. So your cluster weight, if you look at your dashboard, you will see cluster 1 giving you your cluster weight, cluster 2 all the way to cluster 18. You are able to see your cluster weight. That means that is how you performed in the subjects that are required to go into that cluster. Your cluster subjects, how you performed in your cluster subjects compared to everybody else who sat for that exam. So if you didn't take physics, for example, you did not sit for physics. Every course that requires physics, then it means you cannot do. Now, if you cannot you cannot pursue a course that has physics as a must, then in that cluster, you will see in your system, it will read 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, because that area now you cannot go to. So you look at which are the clusters that I have anything else other than 0. That is how you performed compared to everybody else. So we have talked about the cluster subjects, and your cluster weight, which is your performance, individual performance in the subjects required. Now we come to cutoff. How is a cutoff calculated? I have seen in a lot of social media platforms, students asking us to put the cutoff for 2025. Let me be very clear, we do not have a cutoff for 2025 for any university or degree program, any diploma program, we do not have cutoffs, because you, as the applicants, will set the cutoff. Let me give you an example. Last year, University X had a program called Y. In that program Y, they said they wanted 100 students. But when we opened the system, 1,000 students applied. So the system puts in order from student number 1 to student number 1,000, depending on who had the highest cluster, the cluster weight. Remember, we talked of cluster weight. Now, this course, called Bachelor of Arts in XXX, required 2 subjects, English and music, for example. So it first takes who did English and music. Everybody else who didn't do music, their cluster weight is 0. So it only picks the ones who did music. So those are the ones with a cluster weight. And then if 1,000 of them applied, from number 1 to 1,000 are put in order, from highest to the lowest. Then the system looks at how many places are there available in this course called Y. We said there are only 100. So we take from number 1 to number 100. That number 100 forms the cutoff. So the grade that number 100 got, if number 100 had a grade B plus of a cluster weight of 40, let me say of 35, that becomes the cutoff. So it means cutoff is determined by how many places there are in that class. So if a class can take 600, then the number 600 will be the cutoff. The grade of that 600 student forms the cutoff. So this year, the universities have declared their programs. And they have given us all their programs. We have given them to you to apply. So we have also been given the number of students per program. We have already put them in the system. So you people are the ones to start making your applications. So as you apply, the more you apply for each program, if a program will have 100 students and 2,000 of you apply, at the point when we close the system, the person who will have the highest grade, all of you ordered into a descending order. The one who will form the last in every class, that will be the cutoff for 2025. So the cutoff for 2025 will be determined by you, depending on how many people will apply for each program, how many people, what their grades will be, and that will help the next class of 2026 look and see this is how the program, the placement was done. So I encourage you, look at the 2024. The system already gives you your cluster weight. We have already calculated, it is calculated automatically. You cannot take a pen and calculate because the system now has the results of everyone who did KCSE, the 900,000 of you. So you can only calculate yours if you have the results of the 900,000. Otherwise, the system calculates automatically. It gives you now your cluster weight. And with that cluster weight, you can be able to see in this university, the person who went for the program that I'm interested in, the last person, this was their cluster weight. So is mine higher or is it lower? If it is higher, it means your chances are higher. If it is lower, then it is a game of chance. The other thing that you need to also consider is if last year, these were the number of people who got C plus and above, and this year that number has gone up, the chances of that cutoff going up is also high. So you need to look at the cushion. If last year the cutoff was 43.22, probably this time it will be 43.44, something like that, so that you are able to cushion yourself by being aware that more people may be applying for the program this year. I want to take a break up to there and just ask Professor Oluoch to coordinate a short question and answer on matters, cutoff, the mistakes we make when applying, and cluster weight and cluster subjects, so that we are able to move together as we proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CEO, for that presentation. We now want to see if there is any question regarding what has been presented so far. We can take it. Do we have any questions? I can see one. Yes, sorry. Yes.
Hello?
Yes, proceed.
Proceed.
No. We can, yes.
Yes, as the guy fumbles, I can ask a question myself. Is that
Please
okay?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. There's been mention of a cutoff, and the cutoff being determined by the number of applicants. So in the event that I make an application and for some reason, I'm not among the people considered because the number of applicants who got marks higher than mine were all considered for this particular course. Will I be given another chance to maybe make amends later on down the line, or what happens in that scenario?
Yes, you will be given a chance. But remember, when you are submitting an application, you are applying to choice number 1A, 1B, 1C, choice number 2, choice number 3, and choice number 4.
Yes.
So in total, you're submitting 6 different applications. You may miss 1A and land 1B or 1C. You may altogether miss the entire number 1A, 1B, 1C. Then you will be considered for the next choice, which is choice 2, all the way until you are placed. However, if for whatever reason you miss all the your selections or your applications, at a certain time, we will contact those who have not secured placements using the telephone numbers that they supplied while making the application, and inviting them to log back into the portal and submit or revise their choices. So at the end of this application window, we will process whatever has been received. And then if you are provisionally placed, you have secured a provisional placement, we will let you know via SMS. If you have not, again, we will let you know that so that you can log into the portal and submit another selection. I should also add that while you are making the revision, you use the payment code that you used during the initial application. You don't pay a second time for application fees because you already have made the payment for application. So that is also to say that please all the time keep the payment reference code that you receive on your SMS after you have submitted your payment very, very safe. Don't delete it because you may use it in a subsequent revision. Thank you very much. Another question?
I would like
Hello,
to
Professor.
ask, can you register for a course that you don't have cluster points for? For example, you wanted to do environmental sciences, but then you don't have the cluster for that. Like if it's cluster 15, you don't have cluster 15 among your cluster points. Are you still eligible to apply for that course?
Thank you very much. If you recall, the CEO talked about 2 things. She talked about cluster points and also cluster subjects. So we have a cluster, a total of 18 different clusters. A cluster means a grouping of related programs. So if we are talking of cluster one is a Bachelor of Laws. Cluster 2, something else, all the way up to cluster 18. So all the programs that are grouped in a given cluster have a particular or a grouping of subjects that you must have done at KCSE to be able to apply or to qualify to apply for a program in that cluster. Some have, some are specified, some do not have. When we are talking about cluster points, that is now the summation of your required cluster subjects, which we calculate automatically and show you the moment you pick an institution and a program. So what you are seeing that belongs to you is what she called the cluster weight or cluster points. What you are seeing in the two columns for last year and the other year are the cutoffs. And she clarified that the cutoffs are the cluster points of the last student placed in that program to give you an indication of where you fall. So for instance, if your cluster weight is 33.111, and then that is your cluster weight, and then last year, the cutoff is 30.222. The other year, the cutoff is 29.222. It means your cluster points are above the cutoff. And therefore, that means that you are oscillating in the green zone because your cluster weights or cluster points are higher than the cutoff, than the somebody please me. Yeah, so that is what it means. Thank you. Another question?
Yes, let me
Hello.
go.
My question is this.
I think Prof. Sorry, excuse me.
We can only take one.
Prof is.
Yes,
I
my name
appreciate
is
your
Monica. I'm just
presentation.
inquiring. Oh no.
So
We can only
my
take
question is
one
this.
at a time. We can
Okay,
only take
let me go.
one at a time.
I wanted to confirm. You have chosen 6 courses from number 1A.
Let me see if there is any written question so that we can read it. And there is a question. Is it possible for cutoffs to reduce by 10 points? Like we had said, cutoffs are a function of competition. That is the number of vacancies available in a program vis-a-vis the number of applicants who are interested in that program. So it is a function of the competition of how many people are interested in a program and the capacity available in that program that sets the cutoff. So we cannot reduce or increase by any number. It sets itself based on the applications and the capacities that are available.
Allow me to add on that, Prof.
Yes.
That the only time we had a situation where cutoffs dropped significantly was during the Matiang'i rule, the Matiang'i time. So unless there's a sudden change, so as long as everything is okay, where we see students performing better every year, better than last year, then you only expect the cutoffs to go higher because more and more students will be going for that course. So in a situation where there's a sudden mass failure, that's when you would expect cutoffs to go lower. for me, I think what we were aiming at this first step is to get you to understand what cutoffs are, what cluster weights are, how they are calculated, and how we arrive at a cutoff. So cutoff is clear that now we do not have them. So the question of us to share the cutoff, that one is not there. I also want to add that in case you realize that the programs you had selected, you actually meet the cutoff. We have placed you in a program. Maybe you feared to apply for a certain course because you thought you could not meet the cutoff. And somehow, when we place you, you already have the knowledge of where you have been placed. We usually open the system for 1 month before you report to the university. We will open the system for 1 month to allow transfers. At that time, we publish the cutoffs that you people will have generated. When you look at those cutoffs and you realize that you actually met the minimum, you have more marks than the cutoff for a certain program in a certain university, you can now transfer. I give an example. You had wanted to do clinical medicine, but you feared and thought, if I do clinical medicine, if I choose clinical medicine, maybe many people who have applied have more grades than I have, higher grades than I have. Then you go for something else like lab. Not to say that lab is lower than clinical medicine, no. But you go for lab, or you even go for a program like, Bachelor of Arts in Criminology. Now, when we open and you actually see you have more, you had performed better than those who are already in that class, then you can now go for a transfer. That's why we open for 1 month to allow you to make those changes. I can see a question here. Have a question, Prof. I did my KCSE in 2024. I was placed in a private university, but due to the financial positions of my family, they could not be able to raise the money for a private university. So I never joined the university. Was asking if this year I can do the application again for a degree. I'll be able to transfer. Now, in this case, you cannot apply for a degree because you have already been placed to a degree program last year. So the degree options are only for class 2025. However, you can request for a transfer when we open the system for a transfer. Then you can make your transfer from that university to whichever university. But this is the thing, the cutoff points will apply for 2024 candidates, not the
The CEO seemed to have dropped. CEO, are you back? I think we lost her when she was addressing the question of the student who was placed in a private university and she has guided. You can only be eligible for.
Can you hear me?
Proceed, CEO.
Yes, let me say that for the student who asked about asking me to repeat, I can say that the session is being recorded. So if you missed something, don't worry, you can be able to listen to it through our channels. If the course you have been placed and you are the highest, as your highest priority does not have 3 different universities, what is one supposed to do? If you are selecting it as choice 1 and it is only in one university, then if it is choice 1A, 1B, 1C, then you just pick the same program, same university as 1A, 1B, 1C. Prof, you can read more and continue.
Yes, I can read. We have many institutions missing in KUCCPS, and a candidate may have interest in them. Example, Strathmore University. What is your advice to these students? Yes, we have a total of 73 universities where a student can apply on our portal. 43 of those are public universities. The remaining are private universities. I need to say at this juncture that if you submit your application to any of the 43 public universities, including the Open University of Kenya, then you qualify both for government scholarship and help. If you choose to study in private universities, then you will not be eligible for government scholarship. So that is also information that you need to have as you're making your selection or your choices. There are universities, yes, that are not enlisted on our portal out of their own choice. These universities admit students independently, and you have given the example of Strathmore. Strathmore is one of them, and a few others. So if you are interested in a university that you cannot locate in the KUCCPS portal, well and good, you can approach that university independently and they will guide you on how to apply and how to join. I also need to inform that we are also live on YouTube and X. The capacity for this is only 1,000 and we filled it a long time ago. So you can inform those of your friends or relatives who are struggling to join to watch us on YouTube because we are live and there is no limit to that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I'm also looking at some other question asking about diploma in education. Diploma in education, and one says they have a C. So we have that also open and available in the platform. I think we have 33 Prof? Yes, 33 colleges.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, so we have an option of 33 colleges where one can do diploma primary. There was also a question on diploma. We do not have scholarships for diploma in private. We actually do not place in diploma private colleges for now, because again, before we can onboard the institutions, we have to be sure, we have to be we have to get the right I would say permissions from government, but also to manage expectations. So hello, Madam CEO, what happens if you have already applied for the course and I left option C blank? I also choose MOI and UON that have dental. Can I re-access my applications to fill? Yes, you can re-access your application and make your any changes that you would like to make before we close the system. Once we close, you will not be able to change, but for now you are able to do it. There are also questions around KMTC, when it will be opened. Remember, your results came out when we had already opened the system for KMTC March class. So we will be able to open the system again in September for KMTC. So those who wish to pursue a diploma or certificate programs in KMTC, you will be able to do that for the September class, which we will be admitting around July. But let me give caution that if you make an application and you are placed, when it comes to the class, the September class, we will consider those who will not have been placed. So you cannot get two placements in the same cycle. So if you are applying KMTC and you apply degree, we will take the higher one, which is the degree. So there's also a question, why don't we have diploma in universities? Diploma in universities are there. Kindly check the TVET programs that we have availed. Kindly, can a student who scored a B- apply for diploma instead of degree? That is very okay. We have students who check and they see they may not meet the requirements, or they may not have they find the degree very competitive, or by their own choices they choose to pursue a diploma, maybe in mechanical engineering or health related. You don't have to take a degree program. You are not tied to a degree. If there's something you want at the diploma level, you are most welcome to apply. If I apply for dental surgery as my first course, will I be allowed to mix, or will I leave out one seat since it is only in Moi? So for that program, which is only in Moi and University of Nairobi, you can repeat one of the institutions instead of leaving it blank. Why is it that one course has different versions on the portal? For example, Bachelor of Medicine Surgery has like 3 various versions on the portal. That is because every university gives it a different name. But the base program, if you look at the code, the last 3 digits in the program are all the same. That's how you are able to tell that this is just the same program, because some universities will say with IT, others with this, with technology. As long as the codes, the last codes are the same, that is just the same program with different words. From Veronica Macau, my daughter scored a D+, Kiswahili B-, and CRE C+, wants to do B.Ed, but the cutoffs are high than her cluster weight. Advise me on what to do. Cluster weight is 20, but the cutoffs are 27. Like I said, madam, the cutoffs are just there to guide you. So it is a particular unit. You say that advise me on what to do. Her cluster weight is 25, but the cutoffs are 20. These are cutoffs for different universities. So this must be a university between 27 to 31. It means, it just tells you the program is very competitive, very competitive. However, it doesn't stop you from trying. What you do is just spread your risks by choosing education and other programs also, so that in case, some universities have increased the number of students they want in a class. So it doesn't mean that this is cast on stone. It is just a guide. It means also last year some people may have will apply, may not apply. This year you may have a university that not so many people apply. So I say we also have no answers. We also have no answers until the results are out. So madam, kindly just spread the risk, choose education and any other program. Why is it that only one course has different versions? I think I have responded to that. Karatina has no class cutoff for the previous years. Where you find there is no cutoff, it means that program is new, or there was no, they did not get the total number of students they wanted for that class. For example, if they wanted 50 students and they got 35, it means there was no cutoff. Anybody is still could have gone into that program. Or the program is very new and there are no students who have applied before, so you can choose that program. So again, that's a very good question. So does being a previous candidate influence your positioning in the cutoff in a way? Is there first priority to 2025 candidates? Like I said, this is just for 2025. The cutoffs that are there were for students who did 2024. And it is only applicable for them when they are making a transfer. So your 2025, it is only the 2025 class that has access to apply for degree programs this year. The course I'd like to pursue is only offered in 3 universities, JKUAT, DKUT, and Murang'a University. I do not meet the cutoffs for JKUAT, but I meet the cutoff for DKUT and Murang'a. Please, like I said, those are not the cutoffs. Those are just indications for your guidance. So please proceed, apply for the program. If I choose JKUAT as my choice first, then I DKUT and my choice second, and I know choice 1 will already be out of the question. I'd prefer to go to DKUT. Does putting it as my first reduce my priority? No, it doesn't reduce your priority. Remember, first think of the program. Think of the program first before even the institution. That will help you not to feel bad when you see the cutoffs for last year for a certain program were higher than what you may have. But those are, let's not say that the cutoffs are that is just a guidance for your information. And we are trying not to remove, because if we remove those cutoffs, then you will go, it will be a very blind process. We put the cutoffs to guide you so that when we now close the system and we do the simulations, most of you will have gotten their programs of choice. Why is it that I search for course like software engineering? I don't get it. I think that has gone. All the programs are there. Software engineering, I can tell you, is there in many programs, both public and private. So look for IT, computer science, and related courses. It is there. What you may have is ensure that the student has had physics. Software engineering, there must be physics. I think they are popping up very fast. So Professor, you can take on, and then I take a break. I got a private message asking me to show my face. I can confirm that I am not an imposter. So that is me. So you can be confident that this is not an imposter running the system. Thank you very much, Professor.
Yes.
Some, then we also give other staff an opportunity. Thanks.
Thank you, CEO. We have confirmed that that was truly a human being talking and not a robot. So all of us have seen. There is a question on someone who did not apply last year and is trying to apply now, and the system is not allowing them. Yes, the priority group for degree is 2025 KCSE, However, if for whatever reason you were not able to apply last year and you sat in 24, please do a message to the following email address: info@kuccs.ac.ke. In that email, indicate the following: number one, your full names; number two, your KCSE year; number three, your KCSE index number; number four, make a request for consideration by the CEO for late placement; number five, indicate the reason why you did not apply during your cohort; and number six, also indicate your telephone number just in case we may want to reach you. So that is what you do if you didn't apply last year or the other year with your cohort, but you're not going to succeed in submitting your application online. Somebody says they repeated and they cannot apply for degree. What should they do? If you repeated, that means you have two results: the result for 2025 and the result for the initial year of KCSE. Perhaps it addresses what I've just clarified, that you need to do an email indicating why you did not apply.
Allow me to make a clarification on that.
Yes.
If you repeated, we take your best results, not the latest results. So if you repeated all your programs, all the subjects, so you registered in 2024 and you registered in 2025. 2025, you have a new index number. Then you can go into the system and apply with the 2025 index number. If you just sat a few subjects, then we go with your best subjects, but that cannot allow you to apply for university. It will only apply when you are applying for a program in KMTC. I hope I have made it clear. If you sat for just a few subjects, you will still not be able to access the system. In that case, you can apply as a self-sponsored student to the university. But to KMTC, we will be able to place you. But if it is the full exam you sat, if you sat in 2025, then you will be on the system with your 2025 results.
Thank you very much. What if you were placed in a public university, joined, but after, let's say, one academic year, you want to do transfer? Does KUCCPS apply in this case? Yes, transfers are allowable within the first 2 years of placement. So if you have been placed within the last 2 years, you are allowed to do a transfer, and transfers are done online. The period that we will open the portal for transfers, you get into your portal, the student's portal, and you click on transfer. You select the program and the institution you want to transfer to, for which you must meet the minimum requirements. And then the transfer is processed. You get a letter of approval for transfer. Thank you. The next question. They are moving so fast. The questions are moving in torrents. Can diploma courses be applied for during this period? Yes, we have opened the portal for application to universities and to TVET institutions. We have a lot of other institutions, national polytechnics, institutes of science and technology, technical and vocational colleges, diploma primary teacher training colleges, university TVETs, and so on. So the application that is currently ongoing is not just limited to those with C+ and above. You can also apply to those levels. If you have C- and C plain, you can apply for a diploma or a level 6 program. If you have D+ and D plain, you can apply for certificate or level 5. If you have D- and E, you can apply for level 4 or artisan certificate. So the applications that period that we have opened is cross-cutting. It's not just limited to universities. The portal for application will remain open until the 6th of May. So we have a few days remaining. We are encouraging all of you to submit your applications and also to tell your friends, your colleagues, your relatives, wherever they may be, to also take advantage of the window that is still remaining so that they can submit their applications. Somebody's asking about performance index. What does performance index involve? Do you apply? No, the question has disappeared. But performance index is generated by the Kenya National Examinations Council. It's a calculation or aggregation of performance relative to the number of students in each and every subject. And if you look at your students portal, you will see the subjects that you did and the indices indicated.
I can also answer to one there from a parent where the student had an A- with good grades in chemistry, but did not do physics. Unfortunately, for computer science, software engineering, the most important subject is physics. So with good grades in chemistry and biology, I would request that you look more into the health and health-related courses. It is unfortunate that physics was not one of her subjects. So it is something that we keep saying, think through the careers way in advance, because now we talk about the subjects as early as Form 1 and 2 before they drop, so that they are able to align the subjects and the courses they would wish to do in future. Prof.
Thank you. Sir, please, I had a network issue. Please pardon me. My application failed the previous year, and I want to go for a degree course now. What do I do? Yes, use the email address that I've provided, info@kuccs.ac.ke, and indicate the information as we gave.
Another one here. Hello, Madam CEO. I made my application yesterday and I'm yet to receive an e-citizen reference number. I am also now unable to access my application on the system. Kindly assist. We have our Director ICT on board. Kindly respond, Mr. Felix.
Thank you very much, CEO. Sometimes there are delays in getting the citizen code, but it should not go beyond 1 hour. So I would urge the student either to share privately the index number or try after 5 minutes, because we'll update in this meeting so that they are able to apply.
Thank you, Felix. As advised, kindly share so that we find out what happened. That is not normal. If you miss 1A, do you go for 1B? Yes, if you miss 1A, maybe because those who applied have a higher marks than you, the system automatically takes you to 1B. If there is again high competition there, it goes for 1C all the way up to your fourth choice. So after placement, can you apply for a transfer to another university for the same degree? The answer is yes. And I said all that it matters is your grades. At that point, at the transfer point, we will have the cutoffs for each university and each program, and we will be able to publish them for you to be able to know where you can transfer to.
Yes, CEO, if you allow me, I would like to reiterate that currently we have our officers spread in various educational institutions, higher education institutions, that is universities and TVET institutions throughout the country in all the 47 counties. So whichever county you are within the Republic of Kenya, you can find out which institution or which university our officer is in, so that should you need more assistance or more help, you can get personalized assistance. Additionally, we also have people that we have trained to support this activity in all the 54 Huduma centers across the country. So again, if you're not able to reach an institution where our officer is located, please walk to any nearby Huduma center and then ask for a KUCCPS desk. There is a dedicated officer who will be assigned to assist you at an individual basis. Thank you.
Okay, another one here is in the pop-up that appears where you choose for the system to automatically place you in a course if you are not placed in any of your chosen course. Now, will the system place you in a bad course or a good one? Let's say your cluster weights are all above 40. Let me start by saying we don't have bad courses. Every program is relevant in the world today. Personally, I did one of the courses that people would classify as bad. I did a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology and Communication. So I believe it is what you do with your degree or what you do with your certificate or diploma that matters. We have people who have done, even those that we call prestigious courses, but they are not, they cannot say they are successful in life because probably they did not put in use what they went to school to do. So that said and done, when you have a cluster weight of 40 and you end up without a course, maybe because the programs you have chosen are way above 40. Your choice 1, A, B, and C is 43, 44, 45, all the way to your choice 2, choice 3, and 4. When now we look at where to place you, we try and match your grade, your cluster weight with the remaining programs that are not taken up. Now you may find yourself in a program. So if a person has 40 and we see the subjects you've performed well are in sciences, we will place you in a science-related program that may not have filled. Then When we open the system for transfer, that is now the time you're able to see, with my cluster weight of 40, what else would I have done? And then we transfer you. So there's a question here I would like you, Prof, to answer. Hello, I was wondering how many universities offer diploma courses under KUCCPS and not colleges because of the site. I only see colleges.
Thank you. We have 33 public universities that established TVET institutions. So the student can choose any of those 33 public universities that are offering diploma programs in different areas. Thank you.
Okay. Does KUCCPS allow transfer courses? Like if I select biomed and cross-transfer into medicine in the same university after some time, will KUCCPS still fund my studies? One, KUCCPS does not fund. So once you've made your application, you then have to apply for funding to the university's fund or HELB. And that platform is also available. There's a link from our website, or you can go straight to HELB website or UF, Universities Fund website. So they determine who gets funding. But if you have a course and you want to transfer to medicine in the same university, you must meet the minimum, the cutoff for that program in that university. So there are no shortcuts. I cannot take nursing with the hope that once I get in, I will find my way into medicine if I don't have the cutoff. You must meet the cutoff for that university, that program in that university.
Thank you, CEO. If you'd like to pursue an engineering course, how would you know that it is accredited by the Engineering Society? This is to inform all students, parents, and guardians that all programs that are appearing in the KUCCPS portal that are available for application by students are accredited by their respective accreditation agencies and regulatory bodies. There is no program in any university or college that can be accessed or applied for in KUCCPS portal that is not accredited, first by the government of the Republic of Kenya, and the Commission for University Education, and the relevant regulatory agencies and professional bodies. So the confidence that you have is that if you select a program through application by KUCCPS, that is the best assurance that that program is accredited, the institution is also accredited, the program is approved. Thank you.
I would like to inquire whether there is a subject combination, agriculture and mathematics, and a Bachelor of Education, agriculture education program. Kindly clarify if this combination is available. Yes, both of them are subjects you can combine, so you can proceed and apply for the program. I would suggest that we now move to a session where, Professor, you can continue with our presentations. Then we will take a break and respond to more questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CEO. I think most of the issues that we had lined up for the presentations have been captured. Some have also come up by way of questions and answers. I can see there's quite a lot of questions regarding the issues of cutoffs and cluster weights and so on. And I think We will continue to explain and elaborate so that students know what it means and how they come about. Like I said, we are open until the May of 6th for students to apply. Please submit your applications to different levels. I've talked about the universities, the TVET institutions, national polytechnics, and so on and so forth, including the 3 teacher training colleges that are training teachers of secondary, diploma in secondary education. You can also submit your application if you are interested in pursuing a diploma in secondary teacher education. There are 3 TTCs that specialize in that. Application is online, and please, again, be very careful about your credentials, your password. When you log into the portal, you are asked your details, the KCSE index number, the KCSE year, and the password. And we have had to deal with very many, serious cases of students issuing their passwords to third parties. It could be cyber or whatever, and they later on use that password to blackmail the students and even log in and make changes in your information, can even transfer you and so on. So be very, very protective of your password. That is a private information that you should not just be giving out to someone who can log into your system and create problems for you. Payment is also online. We don't receive application fees in cash. Application fees are paid through the e-citizen, the 222, and that is how it must be done. We don't receive money from students or from parents so that we can apply for them. You put the money in your M-Pesa and you make the payment online. The CEO talked very elaborately about some of the problems or troubles students get into when they are making a selection. Remember, you are selecting a career. You are not selecting an institution, a building. You are selecting a career that will last with you for the rest of your life. So be very careful, be very calculative whenever you are selecting a program, a career, and a profession. The institutions where you select them, you will only stay there for 5 years or 4 years or 2 years, and then you move out. So be sure that you are moved and motivated by a desire to select a course of your choice, not a university by name or a college by name or by location. Yeah, we have addressed issues where there could be blanks in terms of cutoffs and so on that we addressed. So I think, CEO, my issues are settled. I want to invite Felix to say something about ICT, and then we can probably go back to the next. Thank you, Felix.
Thank you very much, Prof, through the CEO. About ICT, I just want to clarify that the application is through students.kuccps.ac.ke, where a student is required to log in using details indicated in the portal. Once you log in, I've seen students asking, I've forgotten my cutoff, I've forgotten my cluster weights. How do I proceed and apply? I have not gotten the result slip from the high school. How do I proceed and apply? So I would like to guide the students that when they log into our portal, they will meet their KCSE results as received from NEC. Also, the system would have calculated the weighted cluster points it's not humanly possible to calculate as indicated before, because remember the cluster weights are based on performance of a student in relation to other candidates. So for you to calculate your cluster weights, you would need to know how every student in Kenya performed in a specific subject. So this is to give assurance to the students that you just log in, you find your grades intact, you find your weighted cluster points, and you proceed and apply. To proceed and apply, you will see an icon or a menu up there indicated apply stroke revise. You just click. If you will have already made up your mind and you already know the courses that you need to apply, you provide program code. That is a 7-digit program code. You cannot copy and paste from elsewhere. It's a control to ensure students do not make mistakes when making application. Once you've input the program code, we have 6 choices, but all of them are not mandatory. It's just there to ensure that you spread your risk and increase your chances of getting a program. But if you are clear that you want this program, you can indicate from choice number 1 up to choice number 4. Same program, but in different institutions. What we don't allow is putting the same program all through in one institution. Once you've provided the program code, you'll proceed to where you are asked to make payments. Now, the payments are made through Citizen, through 222. You do not need to go to cyber, give out the index number, give out the money for the cyber attendant to make application for you, because how we've designed our system is that it is user-friendly. You can make your own application at home. You don't need to go to the cyber. Now, once you make your payment, you submit the payment code in order to make your application. There's a question or there's a pop-up that has been discussed before you submit your application. Our system would ask you if in case you miss your choices, should you be placed to another program? The options there are 2. If you say no, we will look at, if you say no, that will mean you will not be placed. If you say yes, what the system will do, it will look at related programs. If you had indicated nursing, all of them, and you missed nursing, and there is still capacity for nursing elsewhere, you will be placed. After submitting the payment code, that is the end, and you will receive an SMS acknowledgement. So should you visit cyber, please ensure 1, the contacts that are put on the portal when creating the contacts are your own contacts. Or if you do not have a mobile phone, or if a student you are supporting do not already have a mobile phone or a phone number, ensure they put contacts of a close person that would be trusted enough to deliver the message. Because when we ask for phone numbers, when we ask for emails, those are the information we use to reach you during application and after application. Remember, when you apply for KMTC, once we place you, we send the data to KMTC. KMTC would use the same mobile number to reach you. So you can imagine if you would have used cyber contacts, how would KMTC reach you? There's no way. Including also the universities and colleges, they have reported not able to reach some students because they provided contacts that were not either valid or of people that were not relaying the message. So if you happen to go to the cyber, ensure the mobile number that they input when they are creating your contacts are your own mobile number or of a close person. Now, once you are done making application, you receive an acknowledgement that you've submitted your application. That acknowledgement comes with an SMS. So if you go to a cyber or if somebody applies for you, don't leave that place or ensure that you have an SMS as a proof that you've made your own application. Now, after making your application, how do you confirm that actually application was made? I've talked about SMS. You can also log into the portal to confirm that your choices are there. Our CEO did indicate that you have a period between now and closure of the system. Should you think that probably I should have put this choice or the other one, you can come back to the portal. You can edit the choices, provided you have the payment code, because at the end of the day, you have to input the payment code as a security to ensure the person making changes is actually the person that made the changes. Once all that is done, we'll proceed and process your applications. And Prof has indicated that it's a competition based on your performance, nothing more, nothing less. So once the placement processing is done, we will contact you via mobile numbers that you gave us. And that's why I was insisting, make sure you give us valid contacts. You can also log into the portal to check your results. Once all that is done and you've reported to the institution and you feel you want to change the course, there is what we call interfaculty that is initiated at the university, but it is done on KUCCPS portal by the university, not you. So if you happen to report to a university and you want to do what we call interfaculty, ensure that it is initiated by the university on KUCCPS portal. Again, if you want to switch a course that is not in that university, or you do not meet cutoff and you want to move to another university, there is what we call in the institution transfer. All this also happens in your portal and you need to log in and select the institution. Finally, CEO, some students have asked, once I'm placed by KUCCPS, how do I inform HELB or University Fund or TVET funding that I've been placed by KUCCPS and I need to access funding? I want to confirm that our systems are integrated with HELB, integrated with University Fund, integrated with TVET funding board, and you do not need to inform them. Once you log into F portal, that is Higher Education Fund portal, our systems are integrated to the extent that the moment you get placed with KUCCPS, it reflects on the other side. So you just need to proceed and make application for funding. Up to there, CEO, I wish to pause my presentation unless there is a question. I wish the students all the best.
Director, please talk, Felix, talk about the basket.
Thank you, CEO. There have been many questions about course basket. Course basket, just like when you go on a shopping, you pick a tray or a basket, you move from one shelf to another, putting what you are interested in. Unless you go to the checkout counter and pay for those items, when you are still in supermarket, you've not paid and you've not purchased them. Now, when you come to KUCCPS, course basket we introduced to ensure the students can just earmark the program they are interested. So when you add a program to the course basket, you are just earmarking probably for later application. You say, I'm interested in this program, I'm interested in this, I'm interested in this. What you need to do after is to proceed and make application. Adding a program to a course basket is not equal to making an application. Once you've added to the course basket, proceed and apply. But it's not a requirement that you have to add to course basket before applying. But if you think instead of writing on a paper, you just add to the course basket. Course basket is acting like I'd call it a rough sheet where you go with a pen and paper, indicate programs that you are interested. But once you've indicated on the paper, that does not equal to application. You have to proceed and make application. So this is to caution students and parents that adding a program to a course basket is not equal to application. You need to make an application. After you've made your mind, receive an acknowledgement via SMS to mark application or successful application of your program. Thank you, CEO.
Thank you so much. Maybe now you can help with addressing, responding to the questions on the chat.
I can see one question. I had a C+, but my cluster weights do not allow me to go for a degree. Can I go for the same campus and do a diploma? Any student who did KCSE and scored a C+ and above, cluster weights are automatically calculated by our system. So probably, please, you need to log in. The cluster weights are not in your result slip. They're in our portal. So you need to log into KUCCPS portal and make application. Can one apply for diploma primary education? Yes, you can once it's available in our system.
The question on there was the question on that the cluster weight may not be, they may not meet the cluster weight, and whether they can apply for a diploma in that university. That is an option. You can actually start at diploma in the same university and transition to a degree. The advantage of that is that you may even get some subject exemptions to allow you to do the degree once you have the diploma. So it will be an easy transition.
Thank you,
Continue,
CEO. Somebody is asking if I apply today and somebody applied last week. Does the last week person stand a chance? The answer is no. It's not first come, first serve. We open a system for 30 days for this time. We opened in April 7th. It will close on May 6th. And once the system closes, we process. It's not first come, first serve. However, it's important to apply early enough, but you have a chance to apply between now and May 6th. Somebody is asking, hello, Felix, what chances does one have? Sorry, it's moving very fast. In the course basket, when it says you don't meet requirements, but your cluster weight is higher, what does that mean? There is no situation where you meet requirements and the system is telling you you do not meet. However, if you have a specific issue, you can write to info@kuccps.ac.ke. Please attach a screenshot so that we may get to know if it's related to the student. But if you meet, putting courses in course basket does not matter if you meet the weighted cutoff, because you've been told cutoffs are calculated at the end. As long as you have minimum requirements, you can add courses to the course basket. How do you help candidate who doesn't? I want to go straight to, sorry, the questions are moving so fast and I'm not able to grasp, but I can see there are 99 of them. So should I come across an ICT related, I'll answer. Back to you, CEO.
Thank you so much, Felix. Prof, we can also continue responding to questions. I can see they move, like he said, very, very fast. Kindly clarify whether there are plans to include mathematics in the minimum subject requirements or how applicants, oh my, I guess that is for education. Education arts, we do not have mathematics now. So as long as you have the C+ and your two teaching subjects, what if you want to do a transfer to another university in the next academic year, rather than starting again at first year. That once we have transferred you, the details are determined by the university based on the subject, the courses that you have done, the classes that you have done, so we may not discuss that. Thank you for your response. Mathematics is not listed under the minimum subject, yes, for AGED. So there are a lot of questions around mathematics and education. For now, I have said we do not have mathematics as a requirement. Is physics really required? The subjects that are there on the system are determined by the universities and the professional bodies. We cannot change any requirements. Why can't I find diploma in computer engineering? Again, what is there is, like Felix says, is a supermarket. When the different manufacturers bring, they bring and we put them there with their requirements. I missed one minimum requirement for nursing and wanted to pursue it, and my clusters are at par with my, should I just wait for KMTC? I can only say that is a personal decision. I cannot tell you to wait or not to wait. When you have scored a B and you do not have the subject requirements, that's a C+ in biology, chemistry, mathematics, and English. The option to go for a diploma is really personal. You have the option of going for a diploma or resitting the subjects, and you have the option of resitting and going applying later as a self-sponsored. If I start a diploma in a university, will help find if a fund if I continue doing the degree in the same university. HELB determines who to fund based on your ability to pay. Diploma or degree, they also fund masters and PhDs. So it's all a matter of putting in an application. Can I do a diploma in civil engineering in JKUAT? If yes, the answer is yes, but check whether it is listed in the programs. If it is not listed, you can go directly to JKUAT, but I know they allow diploma in engineering. Can a course be chosen twice in the same cluster? I think Felix clarified that. Yes, you can choose, you can have the same cluster. A cluster has many, many programs, so you can choose all your programs from one cluster. It's not possible. To be able to transfer to another university, must I have chosen yes, or if I would like to be placed in another university? As Felix said, if you say no, then we leave you at that. If you not have made it for any university, then we will assume that you have other options in life and not just going through the KUCCPS placement. For the student, the ID, yes, the ID, we have an option of putting in the ID, though we have students who are not yet 18, or they are 18 but have a waiting ticket for their ID. You do not have to fill if you don't have. That will not deny you an opportunity to get a placement. At the same time, when you apply for funding, it will be required, but if you don't have, then HELB will provide options, but nobody is denied an opportunity because of not having an ID. Why can't I find criminology? My request is that you search. It is there under the Bachelor of Arts programs and related courses. A seaplane cannot go for education. No, a seaplane can go for education, but diploma, primary education. For diploma and degree, diploma secondary and degree, you must have a mean of a C+. Do you qualify for education science when mathematics you have attained a C+? Yes, C+ in mathematics and one other science subject, you will make it for education science. Can I do diploma in civil? I think I've responded that. And the ID, I don't know whether there are others that are still pending. Professor Oluoch, it is now some minutes to 11, to 12. Looking at the questions, it looks like we have taken care of most of the questions. We will have our staff still available to provide answers and support as you have been guided. But I really want to take this opportunity to thank all of you who have joined us for that 1 hour. It's been a marathon. Actually 2 hours, from 10 to 11 and now to 12. It's been a marathon, responding to as many questions as we can. I know there were those who had tried asking questions verbally, but we muted because it was getting a bit chaotic. We cannot have everybody talking, but we appreciate when the questions are written. So, Prof, I request that you also run through and also close for us if there are none that are burning.
Thank you very, very much, Madam CEO. I think we have done justice to the questions as we could see them. There is one, can one apply for a diploma in primary education, teaching through KUCCPS? If yes, when? For now, the portal is not open for diploma in primary teacher education, but open for diploma in secondary teacher education. If and when we get guidance on opening the portal for primary teacher education, then we will inform our stakeholders. But for now, they are not available. I think, like it has been observed, we are on the ground, Huduma centers, the institutions, like we have said, throughout the country, in all the counties. I join the CEO in thanking our staff for spending time, our technical team for putting this together. And we could now just close with a word of prayer from Madam Nancy Soila. Nancy? If Nancy is not available, I think I would just close with a word of prayer once again. We thank you, Lord, for giving us the opportunity to conclude this webinar. We thank you for the parents, our students and guardians, our staff, and the CEO who got an opportunity to join. We want to commit all the discussions that we have had on you. Continue to give us strength and wisdom to serve the citizens of this country, for it is a privilege that you have bestowed on us as a collective. We want to ask for your guidance as we continue with offering our support to our students across the country. Be with our staff, guide our students as they make choices that touch on their lives. For we pray, believing and trusting in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.